Nowadays, we don't fight with our bows and our arrows. Now we fight with our voice. We fight with this.
You know, if it wasn't for our war chiefs, we wouldn't be here today. And, you know, with their ultimate sacrifice, we wouldn't have land, rights, title, you know, the price of their lives. We're here today.
They had full jurisdiction, full title over everything, you know, everything that was Tsilhqot'in. They fought for that, and you know, they were able to maintain that, you know, as a nation, as a people.
These chiefs were protecting their land, and they were more or less working for the road company, Waddington Crew, and more or less used as slaves when they were abusing our women and everything. And another threat of another smallpox epidemic, and that's what triggered the war off. And then, you know, April of 1864.
That was our warriors. They're warriors, so fear was nothing. Han used to say, in my language, if I had fear, I wouldn't be a warrior. After they were hung, it was a sad day. But I think they really did something for us in a way. We wouldn't be living the way we are if it never happened, I don't think.
Well, I first see this as an opportunity for truth-telling, explaining our story, describing what happened in our history, and then why it's relevant. And we've come a long ways, and it's, you know, in some ways we had that chance where we couldn't have possibly been wiped out completely from smallpox and some of the other diseases, but that, you know, I think those warriors are, you know, they're front and center, like why we're here today.
You know, we stick to our values, we stick to our principles, and you know, I'll forever hold those 6 chiefs near and dear to our heart, and things will work out the way they're supposed to.
Today we come together in the presence of the Tsilhqot'in chiefs to fully acknowledge the actions of past governments committed against the Tsilhqot'in people, and to express the Government of Canada's profound regret for those actions. We also come together out of recognition and respect for the Tsilhqot'in nation, a vital partner in Canada's ongoing nation-to-nation effort towards reconciliation. Today, we honor and recognize 6 Tsilhqot'in chiefs, men who were treated and tried as criminals in an era where both the colonial government and the legal process did not respect the inherent rights of the Tsilhqot'in people and the Tsilhqot'in nation. As the government and the people of Canada continue to come to terms with our colonial past, it is essential that we recognize and support the implementation of the rights of the Tsilhqot'in and all indigenous peoples enshrined in our Constitution. The recognition and implementation of indigenous rights can wait no longer, and neither should the Tsilhqot'in people continue to wait for an apology that is long, long overdue.
For us Tsilhqot'ins to protect our territory, we've been doing that. There's been many chiefs before me that have been protecting, and we're still carrying on the tradition. As leaders, we do it for our people, our grandchildren, their children, and so on.
And even in today's context, it's more appropriate for the Tsilhqot'in to manage our own lands and take a leadership role in it. But I think, for today and the exoneration, it's trying to take our rightful place. I think our leadership has matured to a point where we're ready to take on these responsibilities. Our people have asked for it forever, and I think there's this big cloud or weight on not having these relations with the Crown set properly, where we're recognized from as equals, as eye to eye, as having a say in the decision making.
Long before the arrival of Europeans, the Tsilhqot'in people cared for and protected their homelands. In the spring of 1864, the Tsilhqot'in chiefs led a war party in defense of those homelands. The chiefs were attempting to repel a colonial road crew that wanted to build a road through Tsilhqot'in territory without any legal agreement with the Tsilhqot'in nation. The rights of the Tsilhqot'in people to their land and their right to maintain and uphold their cultural and legal traditions were not considered by the colonial government of the day. As settlers came to the land in the rush for gold, no consideration was given to the needs of the Tsilhqot'in people who were there first. No agreement was made to access their land. No consent was sought. At the same time, along with settlement, came smallpox, which devastated indigenous communities across the continent, including the Tsilhqot'in. Some reliable historical accounts indicate that the Tsilhqot'in had been threatened with the spread of disease by one of the road workers. And so, faced with these threats, the Tsilhqot'in people took action to defend their territory. After convening a council to declare war, they attacked the road crew near Butte Inlet and removed all settlers from their lands before taking refuge in their territory beyond the reach of the colonial militia.
And our war chiefs are important, like we are today. It wasn't for them, a lot of us wouldn't be living here today. With the smallpox and all these things that happened. We Tsilhqot'ins living here today are the offsprings of these people of our past, and that's us here today.
It's not going to fix the pain and all that we've been suffering since this happened 154 years ago, but it's a step in the right direction. Going to be a better working relationship with the government, hopefully.
The Tsilhqot'in people took justified action to defend their territory, and they were met not only with violent escalation, but with dishonor. This was a critical event in the Chilcotin War and a blight in the history of British Columbia. But more than that, the violation of the Tsilhqot'in people and land is part of Canada's legacy of anti-Indigenous colonial violence that still continues today. Mr. Speaker, unless we continue to tell these hard truths and truly addresses the violence of Canada's ongoing colonial history, we will never be able to heal the trauma left in its wake.
Today, our government acknowledges that the colonial government of the day was unwilling to accept that these 6 chiefs were leaders and warriors of the Tsilhqot'in nation, and that the Tsilhqot'in people they led maintained rights to land that had never been ceded. Even though the colonial government did not recognize these rights, the chiefs acted in accordance with their own laws to defend their territory, their people, and their way of life. Mr. Speaker, we know that the exoneration and the apology we are making today on behalf of Canada cannot, by itself, repair the damage that has been done. But it is my sincere hope that these words will allow for greater healing as Canada and the Tsilhqot'in nation continue on the shared journey towards reconciliation. As much as it is within our power to do so, we must right the wrongs of the past, and so, as an important symbol of our commitment to reconciliation, we confirm without reservation that Chief Tsilhqot'in, Chief Biyil, Chief Telad, Chief Takot, Chief Jesus, and Chief Aun are fully exonerated of any crime or wrongdoing.
To the floor of the legislature, that's never happened before. Have a indigenous First Nation group go in. All 6 chiefs went in and we sat there and have our youth ambassador, Pial Lassis, come in and do a drum song. That's never happened before in the legislature. So we walked into the legislature with the black on the outside. That kind of represented the fact that, we've had the hangings of our war chiefs and no progress with Canada or anyone, and in terms of trying to better our nation or better the quality of life for our people. And so there was really no hope. So that black kind of represented all of that. So right on the floor of the legislature, we took our vests off and we turned it inside out. And we put red on the outside and we put the jackets back on. Red in our culture represents life. And that's what that event was. In exonerating our war chiefs, now that breathes hope back into the nation, hope for a better future, hope for something better than we've had. So in a way, it's hitting that reset button with Canada.
I think it's about time that Canada comes to realize who we are as Tsilhqot'in. It's time for them to open their eyes, open their ears, let alone that, their heart, so that they can have that opportunity to understand who we are as a people. So that we, in return, fight without those guns, without the violence in which our people used to do, but to fight with our words, to fight with those songs, with our language that we still speak to this day.
It's a way for us to move forward. It's a way for us to embrace what has happened in the past and heal from it and move forward.
We will continue to move forward as Tsilhqot'in people to continue on and bring strength and courage and to keep our Tsilhqot'in pride, our Tsilhqot'in language strong, and to always have that with us.
A day that's going to be marked in the history books, Canadian history books, and a day I'll never forget. But I think we're definitely on the road to a better future for our people.